Well, good Monday morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Jake Lambright, wanting to give a quick update on the showers and storms that are ongoing in eastern Texas and also kind of update you on the timeline for when these move into Louisiana. Just got a new update in a moment ago. I'm going to have to actually double check and make sure that all this lines up. But there has been an expansion in area of the severe thunderstorm watch. I assume that it's probably an expansion of the PDS severe thunderstorm watch, which means particularly dangerous situation, something that we don't see all too often. But I am going to have to get some clarification on that here in just a moment. In the meantime, though, what you see on your screen is a look at the radar, that complex of storms out in northeastern Texas, basically extending along a line from Douglasville to Queen City down to Linden, all the way just west of Jefferson through Harleton, Hallsville down to Kilgore, and even just south of White House and Tyler. That's kind of the southern extent of the severe portion of this line. Now, the National Weather Service in Shreveport currently has this storm warned for hail up to 1 inch in diameter, or about quarter size, and winds up to 80 miles per hour, which does make this a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. Right now, the corridor of strongest winds is found just to the west of Jefferson, Texas, near Harleton. That'll be moving into the city limits of Marshall here shortly. Got some stronger winds moving through the Hallsville and White Oak area as well. So again, Longview, kind of the Liberty City and Kilgore area. You're up next when it comes to the strongest of those winds. Getting some Doppler radar estimates for you where that plus is and that number, that is where I'm pulling those radar estimated wind speeds from. Northwest side of Marshall looking at about 50 to 55 miles an hour. As you head out towards Harleton, some of those estimates are getting a little closer to 60 miles per hour. Now, backing this up a little bit here on the radar, let's see if I can get some of that to load. There were some pockets not too long ago of estimated winds between 70 and 80 miles per hour. But also, as you head back further to the northwest, out toward Upshur County near Ore City, where this was picking up about 20 minutes ago, the radar beam in Shreveport was scanning a little bit higher in the atmosphere, where now, as these storms approach the Longview, Marshall, Jefferson area, the radar beam is scanning a lot lower to the ground. Some significant wind gusts are certainly still possible as this complex continues to move through eastern Texas. And again, it's on its way to us here in Louisiana. These storms will likely be strongest in northwest Louisiana, so kind of the Shreveport-Bossier area. And then as they head into central Louisiana, I'm still optimistic that they'll start to weaken, but no promises there. These complexes are kind of unpredictable. The models don't always handle them the best. As far as the placement of these storms here, as well as the timing, models have done a decent job with this so far. But again, they're going to have to be watched as they move into the state of Louisiana, as we could still see some strong to severe storms or strong to severe segments of this line as it continues pushing off to the southeast. I'm going to ask real quick, get some clarification on that watch. I'll have an answer on that here in just a moment. Let's go ahead and walk through, while I wait on some new radar data, kind of the latest timing with these storms. I'm going to switch things over. Give me just a second. We're going to use the HER model. It's been handling this pretty well so far today. It's one of our higher resolution models too, so a lot easier to pinpoint who's going to see rain, who's going to see these storms, and exactly when. Let's see how much we've got here from. Looks like all of the data has loaded in from the latest model runs. It's going to take just a second here to load some of this in. Might actually help me to load this up instead. So apologies for that. It's going to take one moment to kind of get some of this data loaded in here. But storms start to move in. We're already at about midnight, 12:30 or so in the morning. Storms are going to kind of move into the Shreveport-Bossier metro about 1 a.m. or so on their current track, maybe a little bit later than that. I mean, I do see some questions there popping into the chat. I do promise I'm watching those, and please feel free to leave those in the chat as well. Looks like my internet here is not wanting to work with me, so I'm going to put the radar back up for just 1 second. And actually, I might, while I read some of these off, I'm going to actually remove my screen and try to switch my internet sources on my iPad for just a second. So Give me one moment. Still trying out some new things with streaming a little bit from home before things get really ramping up there. Once I get off here, I'm going to get ready, go to the station, and be on standby. And of course, you can find updates as the storms roll through over on our KALB platforms. Changing my internet here should do the trick. And then I can pull that model data up where you can see it here. So far from what I am seeing on my end, models are roughly an hour slower with this. Let me put radar back there on the screen for you. So this here's the latest model data, 11 p.m. Actually, I can go up to that latest update. There we go. So we're in between midnight and 1 a.m. These storms right now are already into Marion County, into Gregg County, into Harrison County there in northeastern Texas. So far, the way that the storms look, models are doing a good job with this, but it is a little bit, the storms are moving a bit faster than what the model thinks um, they're going to be moving in. So really, Shreveport Bossier kind of looking at that 1 to 3 a.m. time frame. Then as we head into central Louisiana, probably looking at these entering our northwestern parishes, so Sabine, Natchitoches, wind about 3 to 5. And then with what's left of this line of storms, towards Alexandria, maybe Vernon, Avoyelles Parish, we're looking at that 5 to 7 a.m. time frame for these storms to be moving through. We'll go back here to radar real quick, take a look. Again, here is that complex of storms right now in eastern Texas. The northern segment, and I wish I could circle this. Maybe I can. Maybe not. So that northern section of the line kind of toward Linden, I'll zoom in on it to make it a little bit easier to see. Not severe at this time. We've got some heavy rain, maybe some small sub-severe hail there moving toward Atlanta and Queen City. Winds up to 55 miles an hour will be possible at that segment of the line, which again is just below severe limits. Then as we head further south, that's where we've got the severe warned part of this line coming into Jefferson, Texas now, coming into Marshall, just east of Hallsville at this point. And that's where we can see some stronger winds. I'll switch things back to velocity so we can see where the strongest of those winds are now. Jefferson, at least on radar estimates, not picking up on super strong winds out there. Right now, you might see gusts of 30, maybe 40 miles an hour. Then as you head into Marshall, along the leading edge of that complex, it's where radar is picking up on about 50 to 55 mile an hour winds, maybe a little closer to 60 miles an hour in some spots, basically extending from 59 just north of the loop. Some of the strongest winds are coming into town now. There's the loop, kind of where I'm dragging my plus. Again, still looking at some stronger winds, 50 to 60 miles an hour. There's Highway 43 west out towards Interstate 20. So it looks like the strongest of the winds might stay barely to the north of the interstate, but are really coming through the heart of Marshall right now. Radar also estimating some stronger winds out toward the Longview area as well, where you see that heavy rain there coming out of Longview, moving into Hallsville. So kind of heads up again, I guess, for Hallsville, maybe the south side of Marshall, as more gusty winds could be moving your way. Radar here picking up on about 50 to 60 mile per hour winds moving out of there right now. So just kind of zoom things out. I'll take a look at questions here just a second. So the northern segment of this line, I see Betty's question. The northern segment of this line that's not severe is moving a little bit more easterly. It does look like first this was taking a bit more of a southeasterly track. Let's actually hit play here and load some of this data in. Now with the basically south of, I'm going to actually screenshot this. I think, yes, you can see the editor here. We find a good color that's not going to clash. We'll go with this blue color. I'm going to draw a line right about here. This southern part of the storm is moving a little bit more southeast, whereas as you head toward the north, things are moving a little more due east. So I know, Betty, you've mentioned in the comments before, you're up in Union County, Arkansas. So right now, the part of the line that's sub-severe here, taking a little bit more of an easterly track towards your way, provided that this were to hold together over the next couple of hours. And I'm still here with you, I promise, just reading through some comments here. I need to go back up a good bit and make sure I'm not missing any questions. I see Sierra here is asking about Alexandria. So far, the latest data is indicating that this is going to fall apart. And I want to remain hopeful, and Hope that this weekends and falls apart by the time it gets to us. But with that said, while models are doing okay with this complex so far, traditionally, they just don't handle these types of complexes this time of the year all that well. So it's kind of we're going to hope for the best. We're seeing the best with the trends for Alexandria, but if you're going to make sure to go to bed tonight, get some rest if you can, but make sure to have your phone on ring so that if you are placed under a warning, you can take the appropriate action if this were to hold together. And of course, I'm going to be up tonight watching these storms. Meteorologist Ian Beck is going to join me in a little while at the station as well. He'll be there with me behind the scenes, also watching. Um, so we're going to have you covered overnight tonight and into the early morning hours tomorrow. Oh, and I did not notice. I'll try to adjust this, but it looks like I had that covered up there maybe. I'm going to adjust some things here with, let's see if I can't get that to work once again. Maybe not. So I'm going to take these severe weather warnings down as they are, I, they're not filtering out for Shreveport area / Louisiana at this point. You may notice, though, at the bottom of your screen, some of the Facebook comments rolling in. And of course, I'm reading these and answering these um, right now. I see Destiny's asking about Monroe. We'll go back, kind of switch to the latest model data here and kind of run through what to expect once again. I know Sierra was just asking about, and I apologize if I said your name wrong, was just asking about Alexandria. So see, models here are a little bit interesting because it kind of hints at this falling apart and then trying to reorganize. The likely scenario is it's either going to fall apart completely or it's probably going to stay together. Like, could it do this? Is it possible what it's showing on the model? Yes. Um, but based on my previous experience covering these over the past couple of years, it's likely just going to hold. Not to say that that complex of storms could weaken, but I still think it would be more of a solid line, even if it is just rain. So really kind of looking at that 5 to 9 a.m. Or again, this is a little slower. We'll say 3 to 8 or so for Alexandria. And then out toward the Monroe area, likely looking at that 2 to 7 a.m. range. Looks like the National Weather Service is updating that warning out in East Texas. We'll go back to that radar here in just a moment. So Sierra's also asking about, are storms common like this in Alexandria? So these types of complexes are what we call an MCS, and they are kind of common this time of the year. Some seasons we really don't see any at all. Other seasons, like this year and even last year was way worse, where we had about 10 days or so within a 2-week period where we had an MCS every single day. They weren't, not all of them were super strong. We had some that really packed a punch. That was actually my first week working here back in Alexandria about this time a year ago. So they're not super common. They're not super uncommon either. But when we do see these types of complexes, they are around this time of the year, mid to late May through about mid-June. And then these complexes start to quiet down for us. See Brandy asking about Grant Parish. Again, I'm hopeful that this complex will die down a little bit as it heads towards Grant Parish, but there's really no guarantee. So it's something that's going to have to be monitored. Like I said, try to get some rest tonight. You don't want to start the week off too tired, but make sure to go to bed tonight. Have that ringer turned on your phone. Make sure you have those severe weather alerts on. And if there's an alert here in central Louisiana, we'll keep you posted, whether that's on a live stream, whether that's on Facebook, some way we'll have an update out to you, keeping you informed with the latest as these storms roll through. Good morning, Kyra. I see your question here about West Monroe, and I do miss it up there in Northeast Louisiana too. Always love to visit. Really here for y'all. I'll zoom this in a little bit more on Northeastern Louisiana. Really kind of looking, and again, what this time that you see at the top of your screen there, that Monday 4 a.m. is what time the model thinks that the storms are going to arrive. But storms are moving faster than the model thinks that they are. So right now, if I were to put the clock at about 1 a.m., the storms are going to be well to the east right now in real time, the actual storms compared to where the models actually have them now. So really for the Monroe area, about 2 to 7 a.m. is going to be your window for that complex of storms to move through. I see Rusty here asking about Natchitoches and tornadoes. A brief spin-up tornado cannot be ruled out. But if the complex of storms weakens as it moves into central Louisiana, the chance of a tornado is going to be much lower. Here's officially what the Storm Prediction Center has today for the severe weather outlook over Louisiana, Shreveport to Monroe, basically, or really the Texas Louisiana state line. You take I 20 all the way to the Mississippi state line, it's going to be a slight risk, and all the way down from there down south to about DeRidder, Oakdale, Ville Platte, Bunkie, Marksville, and areas to the north. When we break that down, the highest chance, and again, it's not a super high chance, but the highest threat for tornadoes in central Louisiana is going to be in Sabine and Natchitoches Parish, where you see kind of that reddish brown shading. And then the chance is very low for areas shaded in green, but not zero. So again, the greatest chance, and it's not a super high chance, but the greatest chance for a tornado is going to be mainly in eastern Texas, but also in northwestern Louisiana. It's going to include Shreveport, Bossier, Minden, out to Arcadia, uh, down to portions of Natchitoches Parish, Coshada, Mansfield, and then most of Sabine Parish as well. The main reason for that slight risk is, again, the chance for damaging winds, and also there is a slight risk in place for some due to hail also. See, Daniel here is asking about Houghton. You're out kind of toward the Shreveport Bossier area. We'll get you a quick ETA on these storms. So again, that's showing 2 a.m. and it's about an hour behind. We move out toward Houghton, likely looking at a 2 to 4 a.m. window. Again, there's Houghton right there, center of your screen. Model there at the top says 4 a.m., but like I mentioned, storms are moving faster than what this model thinks they're moving. So they are going to arrive before 4 a.m. I see Todd's comment here about hoping it falls apart by the time it gets into central Louisiana. Todd, I am right there with you. Hopefully, this will begin to weaken and fall apart as it moves into our area. That would be the most ideal. And things are looking very hopeful. But of course, we got to stay up. We got to watch it. We got to make sure this doesn't try to strengthen back up. Of course, we're going to be here with you if it does and give you the earliest warning that we possibly can that things are going to hold together. Chloe here asking if the southern area of the storm breaks off from the northern part, is that a good thing? It kind of depends on the setup, and we'd have to see in real time. Over in the DFW Metroplex not long ago, the eastern half had kind of broken up at one point, had started to weaken, but then another little complex of storms from the west came in and packed just as much, if not more of a punch for some areas on the south side of the DFW Metroplex. So it really just depends case by case. So I know that that's kind of a complicated and not direct answer, but I hope that that kind of helps a little bit. I see Carla here asking about how bad will it be in Pineville and around what time. Models here are trying to indicate still that these will weaken, but also wants to put them strengthening back up as we head a little closer to sunrise. This, what you're seeing here, this line being in the Alexandria Pineville area is likely going to be closer to 5 or 6 a.m., maybe 7 at the latest, as opposed to 8 a.m. Okay, so I will actually switch things because I am interested. This is new data coming in every hour, so I've not evaluated this specifically yet. We'll kind of see what kind of gust it's throwing around. Um, Modeling here, throwing around some 40-mile-an-hour gusts tomorrow as that line attempts to re-strengthen. But again, this isn't everything. This is the scenario that we hope for, where a 40-mile-an-hour gust in central Louisiana is the worst of our concerns because 40 miles an hour, not super strong. So still picking up there. And again, I don't fully buy all of this completely. Again, just because storms right now actually on the radar happening in real time are a little bit different compared to what models are showing. In fact, we'll go back. So I am kind of interested in what it's showing here with gust, with storms now and about the last hour or so. So this model here is also, and again, it's doing pretty decent because most models don't handle these well at all. It's doing halfway decent with placement, and even though it's a little slower, halfway decent with timing. What it's not doing a great job with, though, is estimating these winds. It's underestimating what has already happened by about 20 to 25 miles per hour, which again is why I'm saying don't let your guard down with this. Because to some degree, there is some unpredictability with these types of complexes. Um, so I see Charles saying 40 knots at East Texas Regional, I believe is what those letters are for. So about 45 miles per hour or so. In fact, give me 1 second here. I am curious. I'm going to take a look. I have a web page here on my computer I can pull up that will show me the observations for every 5 minutes. So I do want to look there, East Texas Regional. It's like we had some gusts there. The highest gust, like you said, about 40 knots, 45 miles an hour. So thank you so much, Charles, for pointing that out. Got a lot going on here on different screens. I think I'm just kind of looking for some more questions there. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments. Betty here asking about Union County. Let me switch this. We'll use one pane at a time. Winds at this point, at their strongest, are maybe 45 to 50 miles an hour with that northern part of the storm, even to the north, a little less than that, but will certainly have to be monitored. So I do want to look at this here. I want to say rainfall intensity. Yeah, rainfall intensity is starting to pick back up on that northern side of the line too. We'll go back there to velocity, take a look at the latest. So according to radar estimates, in the Longview area, it's picking up on about 50 to 60 mile an hour winds. So I am going to be very interested. I'm keeping an eye here on the 5-minute observations over East Texas Regional. I see Charles here is asking about velocity here. Here's some of the strongest winds on the leading edge of that bow echo, kind of hinting at maybe 50 miles an hour. I'm going to actually also see if I can't pull observations for Marshall at the airport, kind of out on the east side of town. Strongest thing I'm seeing so far is a gust to 20. So I'm going to be ending the live stream here pretty soon. We got a little bit of time before this moves into Sabine Parish. We've got a little bit of time before these move into Sabine Parish, but the warning has just been extended for there. So again, I'll take your questions for a couple minutes, but I will have to jump off here in just a moment and finish getting ready so that I can go into the station and be ready to cover these storms on our streaming platforms. I don't think we're going to be needing on-air coverage, but of course, got to be on standby just in case. See that new warning there, it includes the northern part of Sabine Parish there, really kind of the Converse area. It doesn't even include Pleasant Hill. Kind of looking at some new updates coming in there. But this new severe thunderstorm warning is out. Doesn't quite include Bossier City, stops just shy of the Red River. Shreveport, Greenwood, you're under this new severe thunderstorm warning that runs through 1 or 2 a.m. Quarter size hail possible. Also winds up to 70 miles an hour possible as well. So the clarification on that watch that I received a little while ago, that watch extension is a PDS watch for portions of central Louisiana. That stands for particularly dangerous situation. So they expanded the area in the current watch of the National Weather Service also kind of expects for winds to gradually decrease as we go throughout the night tonight. Um, so if you read that wording on your watch, it doesn't show up for everybody. But if you do see that PDS wording for that particularly dangerous situation, especially like Sabine, Natchitoches, Wynn, Grant, I think LaSalle Parish under that as well. Winds are still expected, the storms are still expected to weaken at least some, But that PDS watch was initially issued for East Texas, where we've seen um, those winds up to 80, maybe 85 miles an hour at times. Haven't quite got confirmations out toward the Mount Pleasant and Pittsburgh area just yet, to my knowledge. My guess here is that winds in Longview might be dying down at this point, just based on where the line is. And it looks like what is being estimated by radar. I say that 1245 Longview Regional, or East Texas Regional, over in Longview, Texas, gusted to about 37 miles per hour. See, Taikita's asking about Pineville. Hoping for the best here with Pineville as far as storm strength goes. But we're going to be on standby. We're going to be prepared. Let's go back 6 to 9. It's probably going to be a lot closer to 4 to 7 a.m. Because this model, again, is being slow with storms. Storms are moving a little bit faster than actually being shown here by the model. So going with about 4 to 7 a.m. is when the rain will arrive and the potential for severe weather, but it's not going to be a guarantee. I do think we can continue to see some weakening with these storms as they continue moving southeast. No new updates here from the National Weather Service in Lake Charles at this time. Go back. We'll go here to radar. See if I can turn our watches back on. Okay, so that's the original watch. I'm going to turn that back off. Looks like that southern part of the line. Now, this won't be tracking necessarily our direction, but right here out toward Corsicana, Texas, just north of Waco, that part of the line has started to pick back up once again. Things back there to the Shreveport radar. All right, so I'm going to double check a couple more things here. And again, if you have any last questions, please leave those in the comments. I'll get to those. I do see yours, Amias, so give me one moment and I will get back to you here shortly. Just want to double check things here. Going through all the comment sections, mainly Facebook, but I also want to double check things on Twitter. Didn't see anything on YouTube, don't see anything on Twitter. So that is good for now. So Maya, going back to your question about Ouachita Parish, pull up Futurecast here, kind of zoom things in for you a little bit. You're really looking at that probably 3 to 6 a.m. time frame for the most part. And again, kind of ignore the time at the top. It's a little bit slower with storms than what's actually going on right now. So really that 3 to 6 a.m. time frame is when those storms are expected to roll through the Ouachita Parish area. Sorry about that. Mom is in the path. My mom is in the path of some of these storms moving through. So wanted to give her the all clear that wind should be dying down in her area now. All right, so that is double checking things here real quick. Looks like here on my live stream, I'm saying the questions before they actually pop in here on Facebook. So for now, especially if you're in central Louisiana, I know most of my viewers or people watching here are probably from Louisiana. That line there of severe storms that you see in Texas are the ones to watch. Right now in central Louisiana, portions of our area is under a severe thunderstorm warning. Really the extreme northern portion of Sabine Parish, and that goes through 2 a.m. This is an area typically, I do believe most of our viewers, at least if you watch traditional television, do probably get KSLA over KALB. So again, going to be watching this closely. Got to finish getting ready, get into the station, so we can be ready. So I can be ready when these storms arrive in central Louisiana. Again, hopefully much weaker than they are now. But once again, these are the storms to watch. Severe storms, strong to severe storms coming into Shreveport here within the next hour or so. Probably getting into Sabine Parish right at the end of that hour or close to 2 a.m. or a little bit after that. And then as we head into the Arklamas, looking at about at least 2 to 3 a.m. And probably exiting a little closer to 8 o'clock in the morning. Central Louisiana, we're going to see things start up in our northwestern areas about 2 to 3 and hopefully wrap things up maybe 9 a.m. at the latest. Okay, so I do see a couple questions coming in. Concordia later, and Vernon, and I do apologize because not all of these are showing up. Okay, now I got them back. Latasha here asking about Vernon. Go ahead and answer a couple more time questions. So Vernon, probably looking at 3 to 4 a.m. to 7 for your time frame or your timeline. And then Brittany here is asking about Concordia. Concordia, looking at maybe more of a 5 to 8, 9 a.m. window. Timing a little hairier out towards Concordia Parish, but that's what I've got for you for the time being. All right, so and again, there's that complex of storms I'll be watching as we go through the next couple of hours. So I've got to run. I've got to finish getting ready so I can be at the station, of course. Be on the lookout, KALB platforms, Facebook, Smart TV. We'll go on the air if we absolutely have to. We have a criteria. We've got kind of a rule book as to what constitutes going on the air and what doesn't. But one thing that's nice with streaming is that we can go on for anything. If I want to go on and talk about a sunny day for 20 minutes, I can talk to you about a sunny day for 20 minutes. So I'm going to get ready, go to the station, be on standby. Again, keep an eye out on Facebook as the storms evolve. I'm going to be keeping you posted, whether that's through a Facebook post or through a live stream. I'll be there. Meteorologist Ian Beck will also be there. He'll be giving you updates also throughout the morning on Jambalaya. Saw another question come in, and I'll go back to that. See if I can get that to pull back up. I see Alita is in Vivian, and you're already hearing thunder. So Vivian's out east side of Shreveport, or north of Shreveport, North Caddo Parish. So you've got some showers and storms heading your way. You're actually not included in the severe thunderstorm warning. And while winds could pick up maybe 30 to 40 miles per hour, for now, those winds are going to stay below severe limits. And then Chad's asking about Madison Parish. I do anticipate that this will weaken by the time it gets to Madison Parish. The severe threat there is not zero. So you're under a level, and I forgot, this here is not going to show me the current valid severe weather outlook, but for now you do remain under a slight risk, level 2 out of 5, for severe weather. Go back to that there for just a second. All right, so East Texas, I know I have a couple followers out in East Texas watching this. The strongest of the winds at this point are going to be heading into the Shreveport-Bossier Metro soon, kind of heading into Wascom right now. Marshall, Jefferson, Hallsville, Longview, your severe threat's pretty much over at this point, and the winds are going to start dying down pretty quickly. Do one last check here. Observations. Winds as of about 10 minutes ago over East Texas Regional and Longview gusting to about 21 miles per hour, so already calming down a bit there. Take a look at the Marshall Airport over in Harrison County. Looks like the highest gust registered out there was about 35 miles an hour. Again, the strongest of those winds are moving out of the area now. I see Chad asking, is it officially a derecho? That I do not know at this time, and we might not have an official answer for you for a couple of days. This is the type of storm complex that derechos, trying to think of how to word this. We have a derecho. It's from this type of storm complex, but what classifies it as a derecho is how much damage it does. So, for example, back in 2023, there was widespread damage basically from Oklahoma down through the north side of the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, down through northeast Texas, out toward Longview, Marshall, Gilmer. Out in Wood County, there was some significant damage. That continued into Shreveport Bossier, continued all the way, it kind of started moving to the east into the Arklamas, Ruston, Monroe, still had continuous damage there. And that complex of storms produced damage all the way down to the Florida Panhandle. And it produced consistent and continual damage for long enough of a distance to be classified as a derecho. So what we call this complex in the meteorology world is an MCS, or mesoscale convective complex. When these are strong enough and produce damage for a certain number of miles continuously, that's what is called a derecho. So I don't have an answer for you now on that. We'll have to wait for the official reports to roll in from the Storm Prediction Center over the coming days. Um, this did start out to the east of Lubbock, so it'll be interesting to see. But the storms are weakening now. Hopefully this continues and we don't see this classified as a derecho. But all right, again, one last time, things here, East Texas starting to wind down. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning now out in Caddo Parish, DeSoto Parish, Northern Sabine Parish, as well as, I believe that is Sabine County, including Center. So I've got to hop off for now. I've got to finish getting ready, and I will be in at the station here in just a few minutes, watching things behind the scenes and, of course, providing you with more updates throughout the night.